Hi, everyone. Welcome back into Women Unscripted. We are back, finally, live and unrehearsed here at the We Beam TV studio. I'm Barbara Marville-Kelly, and I hope you're having a great day. I am so excited because our girls are back. We haven't seen one another in a little while. I know you guys have, but I haven't. So to my right is Helena Trangata. Welcome back in, also known as Tinkerbell. I should have said that backwards because I think you're more known as Tinkerbell. Sharon Kistler, an amazing woman who is the creator of the Amazing Women group. We're going to talk about that in a little bit and let you know how you can find out more about it, among other things here in the hour. And MaryAnn, it's so good to see you. It's been what? It's at least a year or a year and a half?
Yes.
And I think it's probably because you travel so much to spend time with those grandbabies.
I do, my grandbabies.
I love to see that. And if you've ever seen MaryAnn on our Facebook pages, she does a whole lot of beautiful photography just of nature and sunrises and sunsets, and it just always does our hearts good. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
In fact, we're going to talk about the book that you just put together of your photography. That's just recent, right?
It's just recent, yes. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and I just decided I got to do it. So many people have been asking me for my pictures, and they said, I don't even have a coffee table, but I want a book. I'll buy the coffee table if you get me the book.
That's so cute. That is so cute.
I figured, okay, I'm just gonna do it. So
good. Did you do it through Facebook?
Awesome. I did it through Shutterfly.
Shutterfly. I got to write that down. That's just another little thing I got to learn about, right? Was it pretty simple for someone like me?
No.
No?
No, Barb.
No, definitely no.
She just finally had a ringtone. It would not be simple for you.
It takes time to sort out the pictures, where you're going to put them, how you're going to put them,
what size
they're going to be. No, it took 3 hours for 20 pages. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it took a long time.
But they're so awesome. She is actually the beach baby.
That's what I'm known as, beach baby.
She goes to the beach, but she captures just nature and what's happening there. And it's, like you say, it's very soothing and healing for people.
It is. So many people who don't live at the beach. We are blessed to be here at the beach. I'm there sometimes twice a day taking pictures.
God bless you.
And
better you than me.
I know.
Hot days.
I know how good it makes me feel to be there, so I try to capture what I can and put it on Facebook. And it just soothes people's hearts and souls, and it makes them have a better day and a better life.
And you're so right about that. And what I love about photography with what you're doing, especially being one with nature and capturing that moment, you're freezing that moment for others to enjoy. Because if you didn't, once that moment's gone, it's gone. You can't get it back.
Exactly.
So that's what I love. And you'll be awestruck, really, when you see these pictures of the beach and, the nature, the birds, all of that. You hone right in and get close.
Even the clouds.
Yeah.
Even the faces in the clouds.
Yes.
In my book, I have a cloud that looks just like a dolphin.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have dolphins, we have angels.
She did a great job. This was her first try at this, and she did a great job.
Good for you.
That's on her layout.
I bet your family's gonna love that too.
We know that the talent is there, but on the layout, you did a great job.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good for you.
And you know what else I love too that MaryAnn does on her Facebook page? She also does videos, and the videos of just the water, the waves coming in, and that rhythmic sound. It's so
It's soothing.
and calming, and it's just like you're there. So
And then when the
it's-
seagulls come and they talk, you can actually know what they say now. I've actually picked up with the little white ones, when they're squeaking, that means they have a fish in their mouth.
oh,
Now that's communication.
Right.
That
Wow.
is being in and of the moment, right?
that's been
I love that.
Wow.
I love
So,
that.
and
Well,
it's
she
cool.
spends more time there than with friends. I mean, these little birds have become her friends.
I
So
love-
of course she
Oh,
wants
they
to
do.
communicate
They
with
could-
them.
That's
communicate.
cool.
I just love everything about nature, and actually not in this book, but will be in the next one. We have peacocks near us.
Do you?
We do. And so it was really amazing.
And what do
especially,
they say when they squeak?
Well, no, I didn't know their squawk was their mating call.
Oh, really?
I had no idea. My nephew actually, I sent him the video, and he says, "Oh, that's a mating call."
Oh, wow.
I had
How
no idea what it
fun.
was, but watching them grow from babies up, and up with their feathers, and my grandchildren hadn't seen them, and so we went for drive-bys, and they got to see them and really look at them and like, oh my God, look! And they're up on the roof, and there were like 4 or 5 of them on somebody's porch when it was raining one afternoon.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, and
is.
I just love nature and every part of it.
And you capture
You
it.
can-
And you capture it and
That's awesome.
walk your talk with it. I
I-
love that.
Thank
This is
you.
the communication
So
part.
good.
If you don't spend that time with nature, it passes you by.
That's right, and that's part of what we're talking about today. You have to be in the moment. You have to take the time to be in the moment.
Yes.
Because if not, the moment's going to pass you right by.
That
That's
is
true.
so
That
true.
is so true.
I posted on Facebook. I don't know if you are friends of any of us. If you are, great, and you saw my posting, and I thought, okay, Heart, tell me what do we want to talk about? We're coming into the last quarter of this year, and I thought, what's everyone's vision? What have we learned in the past? What can we impart with you so that maybe each one of us will say a little something that it might make a difference for you? So I say, you know what? What is our 2020 vision for the year 2020? It's never too early to really start planning because we're already putting a lot of stuff behind us. And I know the girls have done some ceremonies and have had some great meetings and talking about your amazing women who share actually crowns with a beautiful little crystal tiara every year. MaryAnn was the recipient of that, right? And that was, what, 2 years ago?
It was a couple years ago, but the fun part was I wore my tiara everywhere I went. and
She did.
I made it really fun, and so I still get called the queen a lot from certain people. But it's like when we crowned this year's
Yeah.
queen, Terry said, I need to get lessons and see how you do it.
Yeah.
So I
We
mean,
had Therese
and
from
Therese
was
Therese,
last year.
she
Yeah.
wore hers all the time. I mean, it's just something fun to do, and we go out from time to time because we live in the minute and then in the moment, and we like to celebrate our friends and our lives because
Yes.
it's just life's too short.
That's right.
So I even worn out, to dinner and stuff, and just had fun with it.
Good.
And now when you don't have it on, you have it on your wrist.
I do.
I gave her a little queen charm.
So this year it was Terry Lynn. And Terry Lynn is our art director of Amazing Woman, and she has been one of the most generous people that I know. She's been loyal to Amazing Woman, our organization, for the last 12 years. So we're starting our 12th year when we go into 2020.
Years. Wow.
Amazing.
Congratulations.
We run on
that.
donations only. I mean, it's a real testament. But Terry was really excited and so deserving. And it's one of the happiest moments I have is bringing that happiness to that individual.
That's one reason why you're here, because of each one of you brings something for women. That's why I kind of call this the sage stage, because we do have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We're all really, all of us women, we've got something to share with one another, and
Absolutely.
to really make changes in our own lives that we've already done and that we can share with you. Sharon, can you touch on what your theme was? This just recently, just this past week.
We did. We had our kickoff for this season last Thursday, and it was just empowering yourself this year. And our focus is going to be self-care, because we feel as women that if you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know not only being friends, but we really believe in that message that we're here to remind each other, we're here to lift each other, inspire, and get a hand when we're in a low place to raise us up. And that's what we were talking about, is not only just caring for ourselves, but realizing our self-worth, our self-value, and how we can not be distracted by life and let stress kind of get us down, and where we're replenishing our resources.
And there's just so much to replenish.
And taking the time, to give, balance our life in a different way. And because I know I'm guilty myself of doing a lot. I have to literally stop myself at times. I'm better at it now. Whereas years ago, I would just go right into the stress and anxiety mode, because I wouldn't realize when I was into overwhelm and overload. And I'm getting better at that. Being an emotional healing practitioner and life coach, I'm more aware. But I work with people who are not aware, and I think we all have done that, for ourselves and in others and the work that we do.
Well, you said
ahead.
that there were 10 people there, 10 new ladies there.
Yeah.
And I think that this is what our mission is. It feels like to me that this is our mission as we go along our path to share some of these things with people who have not been awakened and empowered yet. And there are still so many people, when you talk to them, whether it's at the grocery store or someone in a circle of, non awareness, I'll put it that way.
Yes.
You'll find that they don't think that self-care is important for them.
Right.
They don't feel empowered. They're willing to let everybody tell them how to run their lives. They're willing to be put down. I still know women who are abused and put up with it.
That's right.
And, I think our mission, it really feels to me like, there again, to bring the peace into the world, we have to bring it to each other.
Absolutely.
And it starts with us.
It starts with us,
That's
because
right.
if we're going to do that, it's stepping into a leadership role. It's not by pushing people into that self-awareness, but it's pulling them gently.
Exactly.
Pulling them to walk the talk and to lead by example.
Exactly. And one of the things that we did that was very powerful is we had a tradition where we got into our sister circle, and we all held hands. And we actually had 42 women that were there. So it was this huge circle around the room, holding hands of support, and we were using the I am. And what comes after that is very powerful. So we had I am forgiveness, I am love and peace. Can you remember some other ones?
I said I am pure love and peace.
Right. And I am
courageous.
New beginnings.
New beginnings.
I am inspired. And as we were going around this room, we have a video on my Facebook page, but it was interesting because some of the new women, like you were saying, fit right in. And it was in the moment you could see that supportive effort. But it reminds us that in our life, we should be that with our families, with each other, with our significant other. I mean, it's learning that we have influence and impact. So it's being conscious of that and doing it on purpose.
That's right.
Like to really be kind, like kindness. And
isn't it a shame? I mean, I see this all the time, and, I sell a line of T-shirts that I have a whole line of kindness T-shirts. But the sad part is, is that we have to remind people.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were growing up, if I wasn't kind, I'd been knocked through the wall. My dad was that strict, you know what I'm saying? But, you didn't have to teach people to be kind. It just was... It was what we did.
It's what we did.
And what happened? What happened that we now have to teach people to be kind?
I don't know.
And particularly with the kids and bullying. I'm sure when you spend so much time with your grandkids, you hear the stories of, today there was a 6-year-old arrested for something that he did at school. It's amazing to me how we've gotten so far away from love and kindness and peace and and it happens on Facebook, for example.
Yes.
You know, people can't differ anymore. You know, if you think that black is the best color to wear and I think that red is the right color to wear, what does it matter? But, you know, people get, I mean, I'm being very, you know, low level on this, but what I'm saying is, just because you like black and I like red doesn't mean that we can't still be friends. But, you know, the politics are in our food diets, for example, into, you know, for example, you know, some people are vegans and some people eat meat and some people, you know, and they get a war at each other. It's like,
Who cares?
but we're allowing this to happen. And so what do we do? I feel like the first thing I can do if this happens to me personally is I just have to take a step back. So I always take a step back and breathe.
It's called laying low.
Yes, but you know, when you
Laying
breathe,
low.
then you can get your own psyche in the right place again.
Yeah.
And so I don't respond to those things because it's like, I don't care if you like black and I like red. We can still be really good friends. I don't care if you're Republican and I'm Democrat. We're not going to go to politics here. But, you know,
No,
we do have Barbara and I have very differing ideas on some politics, but it doesn't change our friendship because that is not what's important. And where
We
did
don't
we
even
get,
talk about it.
where did we get to the point that we can't differ? We cannot differ and still be friends. It
Or be
doesn't-
unique. You know, like just admire each other for our uniqueness.
Well, absolutely. And it comes
Because we were hippies, so we know what being unique.
That's right.
Yeah, we
And it was
know what it
fun.
was like to be unique, and we didn't
loved
really
that.
judge somebody if they had like
I
a
know.
little hippier dress than you did. You either were.
You
or
missed
not.
our hippie show. We had the hippie.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
you were doing something. Maybe you were rocking babies or doing something. I don't know. And you know, that's the other thing I want to talk about what you're doing. And thank you, Cher, because I've noticed posts. In fact, Rachel posted, you know, over at the real estate office this morning. She was doing her self-care, and it made me think about what you were imparting and engaging your women with self-care, because if we don't start with ourselves, ladies, if we don't start with ourselves, we can't be there for
Anybody
our
else.
family or our
Exactly.
friends.
Exactly.
Right? And, you know,
Yes.
I don't participate in a lot of things, as Tink knows, and a lot of it is part of my own self-care because I had to learn that. But it's always a continued learning experience. And we were just talking about the, you know, health issues a lot of our friends have had, and how we don't want to go down that bunny hole of overcare, which we have a tendency to evolve into that when we have a family member or a friend. You and I talked about that today. We all have a mutual friend right now that, you know, we're concerned and praying for. And we do a lot of prayer circles, whether it's right in and of the moment at an event or if it's here or what have you. And prayers do work. They do
Yes, they do.
work wonders
Absolutely.
and miracles. And I just saw that. Leslie Kavanaugh, if you are out there today, I remember starting this prayer circle on HSN Memory Lane. It's been a couple of tough years for you, girlfriend. And Leslie was able to get her kidney transplant and
Awesome.
healing in the less
Wonderful.
amount of time. Her numbers are all coming back. And Leslie used to be one of my wonderful producers in the wee hours of the early mornings and the overnights. And boy, we had a blast. And she always made sure I made my numbers. But I'm so happy. I can't wait to see her. She sounds wonderful. And that started with a prayer chain on
Yes.
HSN, which led to another participant from HSN who the day before she saw my posting was just diagnosed with stage 3 kidney disease. So when we share all of this and we're engaging with everyone on a personal level, we're just like you guys, you know? We come here and we have fun, we laugh, we cry for joy and all of that, but you know what? There's stories right here, just like you have. So that's why I just love to share what everybody's doing and just get a little bit more up close and personal with you. Speaking of which, I want to talk to the rocking Glamaw. The rocking Glamaw. If she can tell this without shedding a little tear, John brought tissues. But let's talk about when I got this call and she said, you know what I'm going to do? I go, what? I'm going to be rocking babies. I go, what? So tell how you got involved with that and how your involvement with All Children's.
I I actually had been wanting to rock babies for a long time. I applied for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and about the same time I got approved, because you have to go through background checks and everything, we moved down here, and then there wasn't a NICU in the area that I live. So when that NICU opened, I was like, I want to do this. So I've been doing it 3.5 years now.
Wow.
It's the highlight of my week, to rock my babies. And
Tell everyone what the babies are about.
well, everybody, just like us, every baby has a different story. So some mamas have used drugs, and that's created a need for people to hold these babies, because it's a proven fact that if they're held more, they cry less. And so our main job is to hold those babies first, because of the fact that they're in more need. That doesn't mean that we don't hold the other babies, but many times their mamas are there, or their grandmas, or their daddies. We've seen some beautiful daddy-child relationships in that NICU, because mommy might still be in the room because she had a C-section and she's not quite ready to be with the baby side that much. And there's just been some precious moments that I wish I could catch on camera, with the daddy talking to this little guy, telling him what he's going to be doing in the future and all. And so,
That's
and they
precious.
don't,
Beautiful.
just little things, you hear mamas singing to their babies. I sing to them. I tell them their love. I fill them with love. I tell them that they're just going to, I tell them that they're going to have a wonderful life. We know they might not in reality, but, sometimes they hear a story that their life isn't going to be good. So I have to offset that. I feel like that's my job, to offset
Balance.
it. So
You're
I tell
balancing
them that they're going to have a wonderful life, and they're going to have a much love, and they're going to be love, and they're going to be strong, and they're going to be beautiful. And
You're feeding their soul.
I know.
and they give so much back to me. And so it's just been, I was actually already working, I think, with All Children's Hospital before that, and so I'm the president of the Guild for North Region. So we're always looking for volunteers. It's a challenge, looking for volunteers to help raise money for the children that are at All Children's. All Children's does not take children on the basis of payment. They provide health care to anyone that needs it, any children that need it. And so we're always needing to raise funds to help with different things. Last year, we bought them a new ambulance that was specifically made for little tiny babies. So we had a NICU in the ambulance. Basically, it was a NICU on wheels, and we had the special something to support the baby so they didn't get jostled around when they were in the ambulance.
That was a Mac Daddy ambulance.
Wasn't it?
Oh, my
If
goodness.
you see it, if you're around the hospital, it's blue. So, and it says on the side of it that it was donated
Awesome.
by the guild. So we have this huge guild that covers, I think, 3 or 4 counties, and I'm just the president of the North Region. So there's 8 different branches. And so our job is to raise awareness of what All Children's does in the area, because it's not just the hospital in St. Petersburg. We have outpatient centers north and south, way out of the, like up here we have one on Little Road, we have another one on Tampa Road in Pinellas County. And then they go all the way down to Fort Myers. And our outpatient centers see approximately 2,500 children per month.
Wow.
So it's a huge amount of children going in and out of there, from everything from occupational therapy to speech therapy to you name it. And
It's so needed, too.
and the people who work there, they have my heart, because the fact that they,
Yes.
I've actually been there, at 7 o'clock at night, and they're just leaving, and that their shift was probably over 2 hours ago, and that they stayed to work with a particular child. And they work with the parents, too. We have one of our facilities, we do a Santa thing every year. We have a donor who donates money to buy these gifts, and the kids can come shop. And they come in with their parents, but usually they've got, on their back, here, they've got their occupational therapist, or they've got their speech therapist, or they've got someone, because they're afraid to come in, and they like to have this person who they're familiar with come in, and they get to talk to Santa. And it's just joy. It's just joy, that they can do this for our kids. And when I say our kids, they're really all our kids.
They
You know, we
are.
all have grandchildren. Every
Yes.
one of us have children and nieces and nephews in our life. And hopefully they're all super loved and super cared
Yes.
for. But there are children in our community that are not.
That is so
And that's what
very
we want
true.
to provide for. And that hospital sees children from all over the world. It's not just Florida. It's a Florida-based hospital, but we see kids. And then you see, when you're down there, you see, here's mommy, and she's brought a child for treatment, and then she's got these little ducklings, I call them, you know, who are trailing because she doesn't
Yeah.
have child care. She can't afford
Yeah.
child care to come down from Citrus County or something. So she's got the child in the stroller who's getting treatment, and then she's got the little ducklings, and they follow her around from, you know, because usually they try to get more than one treatment in a day.
Aw.
It's heartwarming. It's also, you know, it's scary that this is, you know, we talked a little bit about dogs earlier and puppies, you know. You don't want to see puppies hurt. Well, you definitely don't want to see babies hurt.
Oh,
And you know, what you're doing is angel work.
I know.
I mean, it really is, and I honor you for that, because just what you were saying earlier, how did we get to this place where people are so unkind
Yeah.
or confused? And what you're doing is so necessary for those babies to have the warmth and the vibration, you know, and feel the heartbeat.
And that's exactly what
You
it
know?
is that frequency that
Yes.
she's giving from the heart
That's right.
to the baby's heart.
And they feel it.
They
you
do
know.
feel it.
I mean, they feel it when they're in the womb. But
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they're not getting that, it's so
Yeah.
needed and necessary. Like,
And I just wanted to say to
it's
that,
wonderful.
it's not always the children that are drug parents that are not going home
Yes.
to their own home. We had a beautiful, well baby recently that was not going home. They just didn't want this baby, and the adoption fell through. And so they, at the very last minute, they had to have a foster family
Yes.
come in. There's not enough foster families around always to even take all these children. And of course, I just wanted to I told the nurse, I said, don't you let that baby go anywhere. I'm going to take it home in my pocket.
I'm surprised that you haven't yet.
But, you know, there are laws about that. But anyway, it's just, you know, and then I have to just tell the little story about I've had 2 babies in this time period who know that they're not loved. You see it in their eyes. And that was the most heartbreaking thing of the whole thing, other than seeing a parent who's mad with their little tiny baby. But, you know, I've seen that too. But these children, I could see in their eyes that they knew they weren't loved. They never cried. They knew that there was no reason to cry because they knew no one would take care of them.
Wow.
And that is the most horrific feeling ever. And I love our nurses. And, you know, they'll just say to me, if I don't have another child who really needs me, they'll say, just pick up that one. It hasn't been held for a while. And that baby, you know, I tell them the same thing. I tell them they're going to be loved. But I see in their eyes, they don't think they're going to be loved. They have given up. And to be a few days old
Yes.
and to give up,
Wow.
is that the saddest?
They say if you don't have the human touch or that warmth, it's a failure
Yeah.
to thrive.
Yeah.
And that's one of the key things, is for them to know there's a purpose of their life, and they feel it.
And to-
But you know what? As we grow, we all need to have that
Right.
feeling, is what we
Yeah.
were saying, even if we're doing self-love and self-acceptance, because
So-
we can be adults and not thrive.
And still
you
feel
know?
that way.
Right.
Right. Yeah,
And still feel
exactly.
If you're
lost
feeling
and
sorry
lonely.
for yourself at all, go volunteer. Maybe you can't rock babies,
Yes.
but volunteer somewhere. There are so
True.
many people who need you. And when you give, you get
feel
back
better,
so
right.
much more.
True.
And you will not be depressed as much anymore. My husband, he works at the hospital as a volunteer too.
He was there today,
And
wasn't he?
He was there today. And you know what? He hears all the stories, you know, of his patients too. And, you know, he complains a lot less than he used to because of the fact that he sees that there's so many people worse off than he is, and maybe younger than he is, and whatever. But there's seniors in homes that need someone just to
Absolutely.
talk to them. All of us have the need to
Yes.
connect.
Right.
And when you're in a home, whatever that is, whether that's a foster home where you're not getting the love, or a senior home that you're not getting the love, it's just sad, and we need to correct that.
You know, you can pick up on this too, but the one thing that, when we talk about a vision for 2020 coming up, I was in a little small intimate circle, and we all went around and we're talking. And I said, look, wait. I said, do you realize what we're doing? We're listening. And I felt like that's like a superpower, to be able to listen to another individual. That's what the connection is, when you know you're being heard, when someone is sharing.
That's the next key word,
Yes.
is listen, but hear what
Hear.
that person is saying.
Yes, I see you.
That's
you know?
right.
Right.
That's right.
Like being validated, being acknowledged. Because I've worked for 15 years with a lot of people who don't feel they're being acknowledged by, could be their family, could be a spouse or a significant other.
Well, and that's a form of communication.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you don't feel like you're being heard, what do? Clam up? Cocoon yourself?
Or you become belligerent.
Or go the opposite? You're
Right.
absolutely right.
Or you don't feel safe.
Right.
You know, if you're talking, like MaryAnn, we were talking away on our drive up here to the studio, and, you know, but we were both listening to one another and really sharing. So your heart opens when you know that someone's listening, you're more trusting, you can
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
You know, talking about love and care and kindness, and I was with my grandchildren a lot this summer, and this was the first time they were ever allowed to come without the parents. So I took advantage of it, really took advantage of it.
But you
And
taught them some stuff, huh?
I did. I taught them that they didn't have to be on electronics 8 hours a day.
Good for you.
So we did
Good one.
stuff. I
Yeah.
got them bicycles. We went bicycle riding. I my golf cart, them in front or behind. But I mean, you know, they went bicycle riding. I took them to the library. They did different activities and crafts at the library. We went to martial art classes, and they just really enjoyed it. Something they've never touched on before, but they really enjoyed it.
And how old are they?
9 and 10.
9. Oh, that's
Yeah,
a great
Josh
age,
is 10
too.
and Kenzie's
just as
9.
cute
And
as they
Haley's
can be.
5.
Oh
She
my
wasn't
gosh.
there the whole time.
They're adorable.
But, you know, this is a kindness that Kenzie did. So she was back with me for 2 more weeks, and so she got to come to the pool every day and do all kinds of fun stuff. But she'd liked I live in a 55 and older community, and so one of our friends needed weeds pulled. And so she says, Mom, I'm just going to go over there and help her do it because she needs to get them pulled. I said, Kenzie, you don't do it for me. And she says, well, she needs it more than you.
Oh, dear.
You know, but she just was
Yeah.
so
She
adamant about
wanted
wanting to help.
Yeah.
She wanted
Nice.
to help, you know, and the grown-ups were so good with her. They really loved her and Josh, and she was saying to some of them, they were so nice, can we have a play date with them?
Oh,
You know, I mean, like, it was so reciprocal, you know,
Yeah.
the love and the kindness that went back and
Yeah.
forth, and the caring that the people put into the kids, and they understood it, and they wanted to give back.
Yes,
Beautiful.
exactly. And you know what? They're communicating.
what a great
They're bridging
lesson.
those
Yes.
generations.
You
They're
taught them.
bridging that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're learning from one another.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I just thought that was just so wonderful. I was so proud of them in every way, and proud of me for, you know, being able to keep up with them.
I know.
That's true.
Isn't that the
Oh, my
truth?
gosh.
I
Yes.
thought you were very brave and courageous. Talk about being
Well,
courageous.
I want to know how you got the electronic devices out of their
Yeah.
hands.
I just said, you know what, we're not doing electronics, we're going to do other things. And once a day they wanted to check their Snapchats to see if anybody had Snapchatted with them, because it's something fun to do. But I kept them busy.
Good.
We watched movies as a family at night, or, you know, they were just so exhausted by the end of the night, they just watched TV for a half hour and they conked out. But, you know, it was a big deal, especially for Josh not being in electronics, because he loves electronics. I mean, some people just love all that. And his mind is so brilliant. He can create and build, you know, and so that's what he did, like at the library with Legos and stuff, and that's what he did at my house. I mean, or even drawing. I have painting at my house. We have canvases and we have everything that they need, and we've actually painted several times. We even went and got seashells, painted them, rocks, wrote little messages on the
Awesome.
rocks. I mean,
That is so
this is something
awesome.
that you decided to do with them.
I did.
And I wonder where
As
this
a
is going to
grandma.
go for the new year coming around the corner. I wonder if they're going to come back and say, hey, Grandma, can we do that again?
Well, they already did every time they come.
see?
Every time they come. Well, we didn't get to put the rocks out because, you know, they wanted to get the rocks and go hide them and let other people find them. So we ran out
That
of
was
time.
cool.
So we have rocks, painted rocks, you know. But
And
they were
that's
actually doing shell sculptures. I do some shell sculpturing, you know, because I love seashells and I have thousands. And so they saw some of the things that I did and they wanted to do it in their own way, but they wanted to do it. And so they painted and then they put them together and made sculptures.
Sounds like you're going to be bringing the art out of them next year.
But you know what I'm hearing too that is so true is the electronics. I think people and the kids too get lost in that world.
Oh, gosh,
and it's
yes.
very individualized. And then what you're saying is you're getting them in touch with nature or each other. When we were younger in a
That's all we
summer,
did.
we just played, the neighborhood would gather and we would invent games and things where we were all interacting.
Because
and-
we didn't have pre-made games.
That's
we had
right.
to like
We had-
No, we
make the
didn't.
school. We had to make a school room so we could
Yeah.
play school
Yes.
and, you know, go get the phone books out of
Right.
the house or something.
Or,
to, like,
or a
pretend
board
books.
game. We'd have a board game, and everybody would get around, and we would play different games, or we would invent outdoor games. You know,
Exactly. And
like-
those were the most funnest.
Yes.
They really
Yes.
were. You know, you just tapped into a memory. My kids just moved here not too long ago. Well, a couple of months ago. So I was able to watch my grandson this one day, and he came real early in the morning. And I can remember this. It's so clear in my mind and in my heart. And he didn't really fuss much, but he was giving me the stink eye and the pouty look and all that. And I said, "Wait a minute, we're going to play." "Well, it's dark out, Mimi." I said, "Wait a minute, let's go. I think the sun's going to rise." We went out. And we stood there and watched that sunrise, and it was like golden. It was golden. And I'll just never forget that one time when we were able to do that. I kept him busy with projects all day long. Yeah, he thought about looking at the tablet, and then said, "No, wait, I got this over here we're going to be doing." And then when it was time to put him down for a nap, we got this down really pat. I said, "You want a foot rub?" While we're, whatever we're doing. I
yeah.
made up a
I
story
saw
for him.
that.
Did I tell you that story?
I saw the video. Didn't you have
Oh,
a
did
little
you see?
video or something?
Oh,
Or
yes, I
pictures?
took some
Or
pictures of him.
So cute.
So he's stretched out on the couch and he sticks his foot on and I've given him a foot rub. I knew he would be out in a few minutes. And I thought, I wonder if he liked that or whatever. I know it put him right to sleep. We were busy all day, but it was time for him to take a little nap. So next time he comes over and I'm watching him, right? Now I know how my husband feels. I'm a foot slave now. He sticks his feet in my face. He goes, "Can I have a massage?" And that tells me that children at that age, they do want that. They want even
that touch.
kind of touch because
Yes,
it's
personal
relaxing.
connection.
And you're
It
hitting the
is.
acupressure points on the feet with a little reflexology before he even realizes it. So guess what they're doing now in school? They're meditating.
Yes, they are.
I never thought I would be alive long enough to see that happen. They're meditating. The Pasco schools, yeah.
I
don't
think
know.
it's wonderful.
And in a part in Pinellas.
So
Wonderful.
with Kenzie, she's the oldest granddaughter, we actually started yoga when she was like maybe 1 or 2 years old. Like I'd put it on YouTube and she would love it. And she'd say more and more and more.
Good.
So, she can do that. She doesn't really meditate, but she can do the yoga poses and she can be quiet and she knows how to breathe. They both know how to do their breathing.
Good. That is the best.
And the massages, I've been doing that with them. When I go up north, they know after the shower, before they go to bed,
See?
if they do it in time, my mom's going to say, "What do you want?" And they either want hands, back, or feet. And sometimes all three. But they want that touch.
Yes.
They want that. And they only
Yes.
want it from me.
But we're getting this ingrained in them at a young age. Each of us are doing our part with that, right? So that as they get older and they're learning the focus, and I mean in school, I have an app on my phone. I don't know if you guys are grandparents out there or if your kids are in the school system. I have an app on my phone where I can actually view what the kids are doing in school. They put pictures on there and all. Absolutely. And I thought, wow, this teacher she sends notes home on the app about the kids and what they're
that's very
doing and they're
cool.
going outside or they're doing this I think it's fabulous. Now, you can have kind of mixed feelings about that with the digital age
Yeah.
today.
Yes.
But it is kind of neat.
Well, another thing too, it just came to my mind when we talk about the self-care. I think this is teaching children how to self-care.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You know,
Thank
I
you.
mean,
Yep.
when
Yes.
kids know how to calm themselves,
Right.
you know, and they get upset, and it's not just throwing a tantrum because they're so frustrated, but teaching them some kind of art or skill
Yes.
where they can focus on that and actually make themselves feel better.
Yes.
You
yes,
know, a
yes.
couple months ago we talked about the calming jars and
Oh, I love that.
making.
We got to
yeah,
do that again.
Well, even with the EFT and the tapping, I mean that's a little bit more of a structure. But there are schools. The UK has a lot of that going on in their schools.
I know.
You
It's
know,
amazing.
meditation, EFT. Just instead of just having nap time, teaching them to go within.
To do
but
it,
but
right.
it's all personal skill, and
Yeah.
when you know how to feel that control, or I'm not feeling good, but I recognize I can make myself feel better. I mean, whether it's a child or an adult, you're going to, you're just going to feel like, you know, you're not getting lost out in the world.
Well,
Can
they're
I-
learning a
can I
habit.
say-
When
can
it's
I-
a habit.
Connect
So-
to self and your divine self.
From a science point of view, though, and I'll just say this, if a child is not healthy, meaning they're not nourished properly, they're not able to self-soothe. They're actually, they
That's
have,
true.
their connectors in the brain don't connect because of the fact that they didn't get good nutrition when they were either prenatal or whatever. So it's really so important to do that care, you know, whether it's little bitty people that were caring for us caring. And it goes on, and I was thinking about the veterans and how much they seem to be hurting and needing somebody to listen to them, somebody to feel for them, somebody to touch them.
That's why
and-
the dogs as pets
Yes.
are phenomenal.
Right.
Therapy dogs.
They're
And
the
so-
best
Yeah.
caregivers.
So
They
we
are.
have to, you can't do one without the other, is what I'm saying. Is they have to be, you know, they have to be nurtured in all ways. It can't
Yeah.
just be, oh, well, let's just meditate, not when they're hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not going to
Well,
work.
they can't
It's-
focus on that.
Well,
you know,
yeah, and I
but-
think that's a different situation
Yeah.
too. But you know, it's just
But it's
like
the
they
same
say.
with us. If
Yeah.
I'm really
That's right.
hungry, you know, I've been on a very strict diet, and if I'm really hungry
Yeah.
and my sugar's down, you know, I tend to go off a little easier.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to, it goes back to
Yes.
looking at us. Have I
Being aware.
eaten properly
Yeah.
lately? Have I done
Makes
this
a
for
big
myself?
difference.
Exactly.
Am I overextending myself? You know, these are the things that it really, it goes across
It
all
does.
humans.
It
yes,
certainly
yes,
does.
it does. You know, I've done so many interviews on the chamber shows, and a lot of charities that I was just appalled because I raised my children in the school system here, and this was a long time ago. And when I volunteered to work at the school, I think I must have been the only one. That's how long ago it was. They looked at me like I had 4 heads. What do you want to come in here and what? Do what? But I was used to that up in Michigan before
Yeah.
we moved down here. And I just was going to follow suit. But it was just one of those things that I felt like I needed to do something with these children, and I did, and I got, you know, it was very good. But I think what you're saying is, too, what I learned is that today, even today, we are doing fundraisers for backpacks, and children are going home over the weekend without any food.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that so
amazing.
unconscionable, but it's out there. And that's why we have such a pulse in the community that really does give back. Like all of you guys, everybody, and there's so many different groups. Of course, towards the end of the year, they run out of a lot of money. And you're really big with this, you know, John Hopkins, All Children's Hospital, that's a mouthful. And by giving back that way, a little here, a little there, a lot here, a lot there, it just does my heart good to see that something is happening in the community. And I never had the awareness until we started doing my chamber TV shows, and we had the charities on, and then I meet you, and of course this one always gets me involved with something with, and I love that. I like to use my voice as trying to give back and raising the awareness, and that's what I will do as long as I've got a heartbeat here and bringing
And
shows like
so
this.
let's just kind of like say there are resources that are available.
Sure.
If you don't have enough food for your family, there are resources
Yes.
that are available in
True.
every county.
Yes.
That's right.
That can help
Yes.
you with get food for your family. I sit on the Healthy Start Coalition board, and we can help those kids until they're 3 years old with whatever. We can do counseling for the family. We can show them how to parent better. We can show them how to, I mean, some of these
Help
parents
them.
do not know how to put their child in a car seat properly. I mean, you know, so the car seat is virtually a waste if they're not done properly. So there are resources. So reach out to someone. There's a 211 number in every county. You can reach out to 211. You could call the show here. Barb, myself, any of us could help you find these resources. There are resources for all of these services.
And, you know, one thing that I'd like to add about the random acts of kindness, they are going on out there. You know,
That's true.
It's even if you just go up to somebody and smile and say hello, you know, and then there's people who, you know, you go and get something and it's already paid for by somebody else and you just pay it forward. I mean, it's still going on out there, and
Of course.
and
It
it's
is.
nice when it happens, you know.
And you know when people, I don't know, just being intuitive, it's almost like you know when you're passing someone on the street or
And they
in the
need that,
store,
yeah.
and you just saying hello
and the
and
other
smiling.
That's all they need sometimes.
And the other thing too is, if you've heard of the 20-second hug, it takes, I mean, that it goes past sharing just a hug, but just a little lingering of that hug. It does create new neural connections.
Oh,
And-
absolutely.
And it brings not just a satisfying warmth, but sometimes a comfort, because we never know what someone's going
That's
through.
so
We
true.
talk about being kind, or we talk about, like you said, paying it forward. Someone just needs that, when you said like the human touch.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
whether it's an adult or it's a senior or a baby or a child or each other, it's really giving a sincere hug so that you're transferring, like you say, the vibration or the frequency that
From your heart to their heart.
Yes, that I care about you. And it's not just in passing, but I intentionally, I mean this. And when you know someone is genuinely glad to see you,
Yeah.
it just lifts you up. I mean, it just,
I know.
I
It
have a
does.
story. It's a couple years ago, and I was at the market, and somebody wanted money, and I don't ever carry cash with me, but I had to go to the bank, you know. So I said, I'll be back. So 15, 20 minutes later, I went back, and he was still there. And I said, I only have a 20 here, and I handed him a 20. Tears poured out of his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
He came over to my side of the car, and he said, "Can I please hug you?" He said, "No one has ever done anything like this for me before."
see?
And, you know, all I could say is, you know, you're welcome.
I was,
know?
that makes me think, and it's been a few years, there was a couple of young men with a dog, and they were out on the street right by our Publix, and I could tell that the dog was not feeling very good, and the kids didn't look like kids. They were probably in their mid-20s, something like that, and I had to go in and bring out some food for them, and I actually gave them my phone number, and we exchanged phone numbers, and I got with Paul Friedlander. Paulie, if you're out there watching the show today, Paul gave me, from all these shows that I did, I'd collect numbers. And I don't know if they ever went to get some help, but like you were saying, the resources. But you're right. He said the same thing to me. He and his friend, I think it was either a friend or a brother, but said, "Can I hug you?"
I think they're brothers. I remember you
Did you see them?
Yeah.
They
No,
they
you
go
told me.
they go from one Publix to the other, and I haven't seen them in a while. So I hope they got some help. And you just never know when somebody may need it. I know we're getting ready to wind down the show, so I'm going to go around the little circle here and have everybody just talk about. We've been talking about this is more kindness, showing more love, but doing it with being authentic and being genuine. It's easy to do. It's so much easier to love than to hate or to be mad or angry, and it puts the good endorphins. It's been proven clinically. HeartMath Institute has all their studies there. It's a not-for-profit. Go there and you can really learn. Believe it or not, sometimes people have to learn to love again.
They do.
Right? If you've been hurt, if somebody stepped on your toes or whatever it is, you know what? The past doesn't equal the future. But it sounds like we've been really talking about where we're all going next year, and it's getting stronger. The light is shining brighter. We light workers are showing up more in places that you never expect. And it's all divine intervention. what do you, just give me a one-liner and let me know what, just so, you've been sharing so much about nature and,
You know, for me, you know, I've had a long struggle.
I know.
And I just live every day and every minute, you know, to the best of my ability that I can. And I know that there's people out there who care about me, just like there's people out there who care about you, you know, and all you have to do is just say, I need help, you know, and I've learned to talk my talk, and I only talk from my heart.
Only way to do it. Sharon, I know you got a lot going on for next year, especially with all those women.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things I shared the other night that I think is, we didn't really touch on this, but the listening we did is very important to let people feel validated that and acknowledge that they are worth it and they have value, so we listen, but also practicing forgiveness. Because when we can forgive
Yes.
others and forgive ourselves,
Yes.
you know, we're letting go. We're letting go of things that really don't serve us well, and it kind of clears the space so we can create and have intentions to bring new energy in and new vision and focus. So I think forgiveness is something to practice.
That's a big thing,
Yes,
and
it
it's
is.
not easy
Powerful.
to do.
It's a
But
powerful thing.
But when you can, you talk about empowerment. Oh boy, that will. That is
That's me.
Very.
I had a lot of
empowering.
people to forgive.
Yes.
And
I think we all
yes,
have.
you know,
It's a
really.
big thing.
it's a big thing, and you just feel
Yeah.
like this big weight's lifted off of you.
Yeah.
Well,
know?
it is because a lot of people hold the blame, shame, guilt, and the forgiveness just, it lightens up that whole, it brings
does.
more light into
It
the
does.
darkness. So.
And you know, praying for those people that can't be forgiving for whatever reason, and just let it go.
I was going to say, that was
Let it
going to be
go.
mine, was let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go, and don't, I mean, I know that we are all past this, but you know, there was a time that many of us thought that we only had a certain amount of love to give. And we probably all learned that that's not true, and probably you have too, but you know, just let your love abound. Give it to whomever. Give it to the people with the dogs. Give it to the babies. Give it to the veterans. You know, it's, we had a couple of get-togethers recently, and somebody said something, someone I don't know very well, and I picked up on it, and I said something, you know, I said, tell us, and she did, and I felt like that was very good for her to be able to share that.
right.
And I felt closer to her because I heard more of her story, and but then I didn't do what I would have liked to have done. We didn't pray over her, and I wish I had prayed over her at that time, and I could have. It was a failure on my part to take advantage of the situation.
You were probably wrapped up in that story and
Yeah.
absorbing and processing
And
it
so
too.
I just feel like that we just need
Yeah.
to be more loving and pray over our friends and family and pray over strangers. The guy
Absolutely.
who flips you off on the highway,
Oh,
you know,
boy.
the guy who, you know, is not very nice, you know, whoever, you know, the store clerk that's not very nice. Pray for them because they've got a story you'll probably never hear, but they're hurting, and that's why they're lashing out. And you know, the more we can be love, the more we can heal this planet.
That's true.
And you just
Very true.
You tapped into a memory from when we did a Heart Waves. Were you there when Ramona, when the rainbow was on her face?
Yes.
And we were just all talking
Yes.
about what was going on in our lives, and she wasn't going to say anything. She just said she wasn't going to say anything, and then she went right into it, right?
She did.
So it's just all these years and being with others and allowing them to bring up their, whatever it is, at any time, it doesn't matter, and reminding them of their song.
That's right.
And that's, you know, I think my part is to live a heart-empowered life because it will empower you. And it's easy to do because it's easy to love. It's so much more easy to love. And if we can all keep that in mind and share some tidbits on our show, we're talking about actually doing more women's shows here at the studio. And so just stay tuned in and step up with us because these gals are fabulous. How long have we all known one another anyway? It's been a good little while.
11 years for me.
Yeah?
Yep.
Most of you, yeah.
I know it's been at
I
least.
remember you, yes, way back at that first Amazing Woman when I met you. It was like this shy little MaryAnn.
Really,
That's
MaryAnn?
true.
And
Really?
she was
Awesome.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
she was like just like
Oh.
Yeah.
standing over in the corner, and
Isn't
she'd
that
take a
true?
little
Yeah.
photo or two, but she was not who she is today.
Yeah.
She's grown so
See
much
that?
Beautifully.
See?
and
Beautifully.
into this
Because I
more-
got more confident with myself. I fell in love with myself. You
That's
have
right.
to love yourself
That's right.
to be able to help other people also.
That's right.
you
That's
know.
right.
Yeah.
So,
And when we get out of our own way, I think it's much easier to see and accept ourselves. I saw something somewhere, and I can't take credit for it, but it held a lot of weight in my heart. It was remember to surrender. Just remember to surrender. And, don't hold back when you care about
That's
somebody.
right.
Because tomorrow is not promised. And we
That's
all have learned
very
that.
true.
We've learned that
Very
recently
true.
with friends of ours. So, yeah, just to be more loving and have fun.
I
Absolutely.
agree with
Have
that.
That's
fun.
Have more
absolute.
fun.
Go to
Don't
the
forget.
Go
Go
to the beach.
Go to the
Go to the
beach.
beach.
Be with friends.
Dance,
true.
sing.
Dance,
Yeah.
sing.
I
Right?
love to dance.
share a meal.
Yes.
I'll tell you.
Share.
Ellen had a video about, with the families that were dancing.
Oh, did
you
she?
see that?
No.
Yeah, and my sister's birthday, my sister Debbie, the other day, and that's what we've had music on, and the little kids were dancing with adults. That is priceless too.
It is.
It's
It
a,
is.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
a treasure.
And
memory.
that's something good for the younger generations to learn is to just dance, whether you take dance lessons or not. We all have it in us, right? I mean, we came out of the womb dancing, kicking and screaming, and that was one of the dances. But gosh, when I think about how many years we've known one another, and then Cher and MaryAnn, you're going to have to come back more often on
It's a
Women
blessing.
Unscripted.
Thank you, I will.
And bring your next book. I can't wait for that.
It will be fun.
So,
No.
what is your vision, your 2020 vision for 2020? It'll be here before you know it, and we still have a few months where we can plan for the next year. We've got a couple of months here. You guys will be back. We'll be back here for October and November, possibly not December because of the holidays
It's
and
right
all.
at 3 months till the end. It's just over 3 months till the end of the year.
Yeah,
Isn't that
so
amazing? That's
October and
amazing.
November.
Yes.
I can't. I
Wow.
can't believe it. So thank you for joining us, and I want to thank my girls for coming on and
Thank
just
you.
sharing from your heart.
Yes,
thank you.
And we will be reposting the show. Thank you so much for joining us on Women Unscripted.
And bless you.
And God bless each and every one of you. And we're closing out the show, sealing with a kiss. Mwah. Thanks for joining us today.